Now this is a non-partisan group, isn't it?
Yes.
You all don't take sides, do you? Well, I ain't got nothing to talk about, but I'm on Obama's side. I can't talk about that. You know, in the world, we do much talking and not talk about Obama. But I do appreciate the opportunity with you, and this is a significant and potentially powerful group in this community. To have the community of faith, deal with the issues that you brought forth today. And we need, I don't know any time in my life, and I'm older than anybody in here. Is anybody here over 91? Well, I was 91 last Saturday. And, I'm old enough to talk about and get away with anything you want to say when you get. What can you do to a fellow who's 91? Well, say, well, you know, he's senile. we told him this, but he's talking about anyway. But there are a couple of things that the faith community is obligated to deal with. One of them is voting, but I want to say that for last. I think we're obligated to deal with the polarization in our community today. I've never seen, honestly, I've never seen this schism, the polarization so deep as it is in our community during this time. And I don't know how we're going to heal the breach except God intervene. And this community represents that intervention of God. And I want to urge you and admonish you and cajole you and exhort you and everything else to work to bring healing in our community. The depth of hostility, the breach of our brotherhood and sisterhood is so deep and so sharp that I worry about our future. Much of, and I, you know, is the, I was in Savannah Monday and out in Liberty County, next to Savannah, Monday evening. They worked me in Denver down there. Yesterday I just fell out. And my wife didn't want me to come today. But I've already decided I'm going to die with my boots on.
All right.
So there's no reason, I'm trying to keep her keep from getting excited, to just be prepared, to know that I ain't going to sleep away.
All right.
I saw a fellow the other day, wife told he slept, went to bed, and slept peacefully all the way. I said, I wish I could do that, but I know I ain't. I'm going to go somewhere running my mouth and call upon the people of God to turn to each other and not on each other. There's nothing more challenging, nothing more important to the community of faith than helping to heal the hostility and even the hatred that has found its way into our relationships in this day. Part of the of the political hostility. Rides a broom of hatred.
All right.
I'll just be frank with you. I listened to Brother Romney and Brother Obama. If Obama were a white man,
All right.
there wouldn't be no question about how this election is going to come out. Because not many people are rich and wealthy as Brother Romney. And so he doesn't speak our language. And I don't know what he's talking about half the time because he lives in another world. He was going to, what was the gentleman's name from Pennsylvania who was Republican? What's his name? Who said that? Oh, this is our brother. I might have known you know that. Santor. And they were talking about something, and Brother Robert said, would you like to have a bet? Said, I'll bet you $10,000 right now. He reached in his pocket to get $10,000. Now anybody who carries $10,000 around in his pocket doesn't speak my language. And I certainly don't speak his language. That's out of my world. That's way out of my department. And that's everything he talked about is favorite and rich. And favorite, but I want us to part of the hatred is based on race.
All right.
And I thought we had made more progress in racial understanding than we have. And I'm so proud to see the interracial nature of this group. You've got another white one, two people, another white people here, and they represent an important part of your community. Jew or Gentile, Roman Catholic or Protestant or Homeless or whatever it is, we've got to learn to work through this issue of race and color. I don't know how long it's going to take us. I really thought when I thought we were further along than we are. And maybe we haven't been working hard enough to heal the divisions that are based on race. God is no respecter. You can't put, although some of them do, there are some religious leaders who base their racist feeling on religion. But that's very difficult, very dangerous. You can't substantiate it in the Word because God is no respecter. God doesn't distinguish or hold in favor for people on the basis of race and color. And we've got to find a way to overcome this animosity and hostility, this division that continues to keep us apart. And I want to thank you for what you're attempting to do in this community to overcome barriers particularly based on race. Now, the second thing I wanted to say was that I hope that this church-based group, one of the things, and this is not partisan, this is non-partisan. There are some preachers up in New York and around talk about they need a boycott of the election. And I've never heard anything more foolish in my life. And they're mad at Obama because he spoke as the president and talked about the constitutional basis of equal rights for all people. And because that put him on the side of giving legal sanction to same-sex marriage, these people said they ain't gonna vote. They ain't gonna vote. And I think they out of their cotton picking mind. That's you going. And what you have to understand is that every year, every election, somebody brings up something to divide us and to distract us. And weapons of mass distraction. To distract us, get our mind off election. And yeah, you know, they're black too, they're black. They're not white preachers. You got some white preachers doing some crazy things too, but these folks in this issue, they're not white, they're black. And you know, in 2000, Bush won the election because there were some black preachers in Ohio who led a campaign against the Democrat candidate because on the issue of sex. And I just want to say that Brother Obama is not trying to tell you in your church that you got to marry same sex. That's your decision. What Brother Obama was talking about, what the Constitution guarantees. It guarantees everybody equal rights. And I find it difficult to understand how any black person could find the nerve to deny anybody equal rights as hard as we had to fight all our lives for equal rights. How are we going to turn around now and deny people equal rights because you don't like a particular right? Well, I want to ask you something. Do you think everybody likes all the rights you got? If black preachers are under the impression that all the rights they have, that everybody in the world likes those rights, you got another thought coming. And if some people, I'd be scared to put out some of our rights to a vote. I'd be against putting the right to buy a house any way you want. The right to attend any school you want to. I'd be scared to put that up to a vote. I'd just be private. I don't trust a whole lot of folks to vote because they don't like us having those rights. And if they had a chance to vote, they'd vote you back where you were a long time ago. So don't deny other people their rights because you don't like them. Now, I have never married anybody in the same sex. I don't know if I ever will. I know I may. Can't never tell. But I'm not if I never do, I respect their rights under the Constitution to marry whoever they want to. Now we don't observe the Constitution, but the Constitution guarantees us equal rights. Now you can't have equal rights for some folk and not equal rights for the others. Hello? That's called an oxymoron. If you believe in equal rights, you believe in equal rights for everybody, or you don't believe in equal rights for anybody. Equal rights, equal rights. And you can't say, I'm going to give this group right here equal rights. but I'm not going to give you equal rights. That doesn't make any sense at all. You believe in equal rights, believe in equal rights. And so don't deny a person the right because you don't like it. Because if you don't watch out, somebody will take away the rights you have because they don't like it. But we must respect rights. I've been, uncomfortable with same-sex marriage. I grew up just like you did. Boy, girl. Man, woman. But the right to choose your mate is a right that we think is guaranteed under the Constitution. But the president is not telling the church what to do about it. He's talking about our rights, R-I-G-H-T-S, not our rights, R-I-T-E-S, that we practice in the church. So that you're free to carry out whatever you, but as a president, and I was so proud of him the other night during the debate when Brother Lowery insinuated that they were careless about protecting our people who work overseas. I was proud of the president and said, that's offensive to me. That you think we would take people overseas and put them in harm's way and then not protect them. That's offensive. And it's offensive for us to assume that we ought to take away people's rights because we don't like it. And that we can build the kind of society we want by granting people rights on the basis of what we like, what we don't like. I think in terms of voting, well, I also saw in your bill there something else I agree with, where it said vote no on the charter amendment. I want to congratulate you for that. Now, I'm not against charter schools. I favor some charter schools. But I'm against the amendment that they're proposing, changing how charter schools are authorized and brought about. I think we already got a pretty good system at the Board of Education. Work through that process. And I'm against the governor having the power to appoint 10 or 12 people who will determine the whole state where it's going to be charter schools. That's too much power to the governor and to a little handful of folks that he wants to appoint. That's against the best interest of education. And I want to congratulate you for that. I think that we already have a system by which we improve charter schools, and that's much better than putting it in the hands of a handful of people who are not accountable to the community. They're accountable to the government. And I think that's wrong. And I think we ought to vote no. And I congratulate you, because I see you say it on your pamphlet, vote no. And I think that's right. I'm not against charter school, but I'm against the governor having the power to name a few people who control for the whole state. And what it does is, the more you do that, the more you've got to have financial support. And it jeopardizes the future of public education. We're already in trouble.
Amen.
in public education because we don't provide adequate funds for some schools. And if we're going to threaten the future of public education because we weaken it by siphoning the money off for private schools, whether it's child or not, we put public education in danger. And so I want to congratulate you for taking a position against this amendment. And be careful because it reads funny. You think it's the best thing in the world if you read how they got it fixed on the ballot. But that's the lie. That's not what the amendment is about. The amendment is how you're going to set it up and puts the power in the hands of these people who will be appointed by the government. Now the final thing I'd like to say to you, and again I want to express my appreciation for the very nature of this fellowship. And I appreciate you had a good argument about your daddy. You got it, didn't you? Yeah. And I didn't know, there's not many preachers left who don't approve of women preachers, are there? Are there many preachers in Augusta who disapprove of women preachers? There are. I thought they were all gone. I thought all those preachers had died and left us. It's too late to be talking about you don't approve of women preachers. It's too late. There are too many of them. You can't, and if you can't go, join them. You might as well accept women preachers. They're not going anywhere. Now, some know my good friend. I got a good friend, and you know him because is the president of the Baptist Convention here? I don't see him. He's out of town. He succeeded a fellow, good friend of mine, lived right around the corner from me. We've been good friends for years, but we have a serious difference. He can't accept women preachers yet. Cameron's all uneasy with women preaching. And I said, boy, you know you're too progressive on other things to be so backward. Talk about women preaching. If God calls, who are you to reject?
All right.
And you don't have the right to question whether God called him or not. Somebody can question whether God called you or not. I know my daddy asked me 50 times, you sure God called you, son? Because you told me you're going to be a lawyer. And I want you to holler something you she had me several times. It wasn't until several months after I had started preaching that he came and heard me preach one Christmas morning at the Presbyterian church next to my house. And he came out of church crying and said to my mother, God doesn't call that boy to preach. And I was thankful for that. So I thought you made a good presentation. You may have been a little hard on your daddy, but I know how you felt. You felt relieved and blessed that he had come around. My daddy came around the same way, and I wasn't even a woman preacher. I was a boy, but he had to come around because he was counting on me doing something else. But I want to thank you again for your leadership, for your stewardship. Now, for everybody, just follow the word about voting. For everybody, voting is a sacred right. R-I-G-H-T, under the Constitution. But for some of us, it's more than a sacred right. It's a moral obligation. Now I'm talking first about black folks. Black folks have a moral obligation to vote. Too many people died. Too many people gave their life for you to have a right to vote, for you to not exercise. I said to the Lord one day, Lord, if I could get any wish I had, I would like to have the power to take charge of the universe 2 days after the election. And what I will do is send every African American who didn't vote, I send them straight to hell. I would. Now I might let them come back in time for church Sunday. But I sure like to see it's been 48 hours in hell. Because voting for us is a moral obligation. We have no right not to vote. It's a sin to me for an African American to ignore all the sacrifices and bloodshed that has gone on in history just to get us the right to vote. To fail to exercise is to disrespect and discount. But not only is it disrespectful to the past, it disrespects the future. If you don't vote, you can't help determine the course of history for the future. You can cry and complain and whine all you want, but if you don't vote, it doesn't make any difference. White people who have a conscience, you have a moral obligation to vote as well, because your conscience teaches you that too many sacrifices is too important. Too much of the future depends on my vote. Go vote and turn everybody out in your congregation. Tell them what I said, that I may be in charge. The Lord may give me the privilege. He could decide next week, say, Brother Lowery, after the election, you're in charge of the world. And so Brother Lowery said, if you don't vote, he's going to send you to hell. So I hope we'll turn out to vote. It's going to take a bigger turnout this time.
A production of AnibalShow.
AnibalShow.com.
AnibalShow.com.